Hey everybody, welcome back to part 3 of my Dark Souls filthy casual run. I'm Rob, and gonna give a little wave there. Hello! Let's check out this chinging noise. What is that chinging noise? Oh, Santa?
Well, you must be a new arrival.
You're not Santa.
I'm Andre of a store run. If you require smithing, then speak to me.
Even better than Santa. This is the first blacksmith of the game that most people probably run into. Sells some upgrade materials and other useful items that we'll get later. Different weapons here and there if you're interested. Arrows. For the time being, I have 0 souls. That's because off camera,
I'll be seeing you.
I went back to the merchant and the undead bird to get a bow and all the wooden arrows I could get. See? Yeah. And also leveled up my dex by 2 points so that I could wield the halberd, which is pretty much going to be my main weapon of this playthrough. So, for the time being, found our blacksmith. I don't have any souls to upgrade things with, but I'd like to get my halberd and bow to a +5 optimally. So, I'm going to go ahead and take care of that off camera, and I'll see you guys in a little bit. Also, while I'm doing all this farming for upgrade materials and souls, I want to show you guys something that I didn't point out in my last video. When I was doing this run originally, before I killed this guy, before I killed the giant warthog thing, I ran up through here, and if you'll remember, I jumped from here and ran under this gate before the little hollow guy came and shut it. Well, if you're a new player and you're just approaching this area for the first time, what'll most likely happen is you're approaching the area cautiously, and he takes off and he runs and he shuts you in this little area here. And where the game leads you to is down to this little cubby hole, where this guy leads you into an ambush. Yeah, this is, if you miss running through that door, if you're not able to do it quickly enough, this is kind of where you're meant to go. Because there is something in here that'll come in handy if you didn't choose the Master Key as your starting gift. It's right down here, the Mystery Key. And one other thing I want to point out, of course, you know, veteran players, if there's any veteran players watching this, I kind of doubt it, but if there's any new players watching this, if you're not sure where to go in the game, a lot of times you can read item descriptions, specifically key descriptions, to kind of give you a clue as to where you should head next. Yeah, I realize I didn't point any of that stuff out in my last video, and I just wanted to make it a point to show that real quick. Another thing I forgot to show in my last video is when you get here after defeating the Taurus demon, if that dragon is giving you the blues and you can't seem to get past him, the game provided you with another way to progress by just bypassing that dragon altogether. You have to get past a couple of hollows, but then you won't have to worry about the dragon at all. Then you come in here and there's some rats. They can poison you. Poison in this game is not a huge deal. It seems like it drains a little bit more life from you when rats inflict it, though. I'm not really sure why. But anyway, you go up this ladder, you come out right here, but this gate will still be closed. And that's actually how I got past that area on my first playthrough, and I missed that bonfire altogether until very close to the end of the game when I came back to this area. But yeah, just wanted to show that. Alrighty, I believe I've procured the upgrade materials I need to go ahead and reinforce this halberd all the way up to a +5. And I was going to reinforce the short bow, but I think I'll just leave that for another time, or for a different bow that I'll get later on in the game. But I have the short bow as it is will serve me just fine for now for what I want to use it for. Okay, so I'm going to demonstrate how the whole humanity thing works with kindling bonfires and all that. Going human, rest at the bonfire, you have to reverse hollowing. That takes you from hollow form to human form. And that counter in the upper left corner of the screen, you notice, that's your soft humanity. Goes down by 1 to go human. And then you can kindle, and that'll increase your Estus flasks from 5 to 10 uses. And this bonfire in particular, I like to have kindled most of the time because it becomes a fairly important area for me later on in the game. That face, I'll never get tired of that. Alright, so before I head straight to the boss of this area, I'm gonna do a couple of things. Gonna come up here and deal with this squad that's always respawning for one thing. Run around and backstab. And then just poke away at these guys. And a running attack thrown in there just for good measure. So in the last video I dealt with that big Knight of Berenique. I believe that's the Berenique Knight, if I'm remembering correctly. He was guarding this corpse that has a Firekeeper soul. Yeah, I'll tell you all about that guy here in a little bit. But if you run over here, this is one of the first shortcuts you access in the game that'll take you straight back to Firelink Shrine. So instead of having to backtrack all the way through the Undead Berg and all that, the bridge with the dragon on it, you can start just going to and fro with this lift here. And any Firekeeper Souls or whatever you find, you can just take them on back here and use them. Yeah, but when you acquire those Firekeeper Souls, definitely don't use them as the items that they show up as in your item. And don't use them from your inventory. That's what I'm trying to say. Make sure you take them over here to the Firekeeper and let her work her magic. There you go. If you notice, got an Estus Flask plus 2 now. It'll heal more health. What should I do with the rest of these souls? Should I spend them on items or levels? What can I level up? I could give myself a little bit more attunement if I wanted to. Endurance. I'm going to leave strength and dex where they are now because that's enough to wield the weapon that I want to use. My health, I'm pretty satisfied with where my health is at. Thinking. Yeah, that's fine. That'll work. The more endurance, the better. So I'm gonna hightail it on back to the Undead Church where I was at, and we'll head on for the first boss. Yeah, the way this game connects is in a lot of ways it's very much like a Metroidvania, like a big 3D Metroidvania, I guess. It's another way that this game, to me, has a lot in common with the Castlevania series. Okay, yeah. This guy. See him up there? He is a total jackass. And if you get anywhere close to him down here, he'll cast ranged spells at you. And yeah, he can make your life miserable. As long as you keep a safe distance, he'll leave you alone. And then, if you go up the stairs around here and go straight to him, yeah, you can fight him and take him out, but he's got a mob of little hollow guys up there. Look, hang on. That he will buff, and they'll just totally jump you and destroy you if you're not prepared for it. So you can see a couple of them there. So, what I like to do is aim straight for his head. Make sure you get a critical headshot on him. You'll know you've done it when he doubles back like that. And you can just stun lock him. As long as you keep hitting him right in the head. And you keep hitting him before he can take action. He'll be stun locked and there's nothing he can do about it. Uh-oh. Well, we got our first invader. I had the Fallen. I wonder where he's invading from. Most of the time they spawn up there. I'm going to go ahead and be a good sport and come out to this area. See if he wants to duel or if he just wants to take me out. I'm probably going to lose. I'm not the best PvPer in this game. By any means. But we'll see. Whoa, now. Alright, what have we got here? Got the Ghost Blade. Oh, don't let me stun lock you. Yeah, he toggle escaped. Ah, Dark Bead, of course. Why wouldn't you have Dark Bead? And I'm dead. Ah, well played, sir. Yeah, it happens. You gotta be a good sport about it. When I saw he was wearing the Crown of Dusk, that gives you a massive damage buff to your magic stat. I figured he was gonna pull something out like that here and there in a second. Whatever though, that's only a minor setback. And a tip for anybody that's having problems with it being invaded over and over, just stay in hollow form, man. You cannot be invaded in hollow form. Not even by the NPC invaders. So that's definitely a tactic you can use, or you can just play offline. There's no shame in it. My very first Dark Souls playthrough was offline because I wanted to avoid the invasions and whatnot and just experience the game. Alright, so back to square one with this guy. Just aim straight for his head. Keep him stun locked. And since my bow's not upgraded and I'm using the weakest arrows, it's a little bit of a slower process, but I mean, it gets the job done. And one of the hollows to the right just kind of looking at him like, what's going on? What's happening? Who's shooting you in the face, man? And there we go. That did it. Those Balder Knights are just standing there like, huh? What? Video game logic. You gotta love it. So thankfully, that particular little wizard guy, it's called a channeler, he does not respawn. So once you kill him, you don't have to worry about him anymore. When you go up to where he was at, you still have to face a mob of angry hollows, but at least they won't be buffed. Alright, as we're coming up these stairs, there's going to be a rapier Balder Knight waiting for us. Yeah, if you're not getting good at parries yet or anything, you know, you can just, I don't know, stick back and just kind of hit him the best you can. If you're using the halberd, it's a lot easier. So you come through this doorway, yeah. And out comes the welcoming committee. I'm not sure how many of them there are exactly, but you just kind of stand in the doorway and bottleneck them. Especially if you're using any weapon that's got a good stabbing attack like the halberd, the long sword, claymore, any weapon like that. You can take them out easily enough. I think on my first playthrough I was actually using a spear at this part, so that's how I got through that. So we're on the second floor of the church. Before heading straight to the boss door, I want to make a slight little detour for this area. Probably should have healed before I aggroed him. There we go. Sometimes I'll miss the first parry and get it on the second try. You know what they say is if at first you don't succeed, just die and try again. Come around here. This barrel with a corpse in it. This corpse has a little humanity. Every little bit helps. And then if you notice, this door is kind of shoddy looking. You can just break it out of the way. Climb this flight of stairs and got somebody that's holed up in jail.
Oh, still human, are you? Then I am in luck. Could you help me? As you can see, I am stuck without recourse.
And if you grab the mystery key from that area I just showed y'all, from that little entry point from where the big war hog whatever is at, that's where you get the mystery key from. That unlocks that door, but the master key will also unlock it, just FYI.
Thank you. Yes, sincerely. I am Knight Lautrec of Karim. I truly appreciate this, and I guarantee a reward. Only later.
Yeah, this guy doesn't sound shady at all. With the deep, brooding, gravity voice.
Yes, very sorry. Your reward will have to wait. I've just been freed. Allow me some time.
Yeah. Good old Lautrec. We'll learn more about him in his quest later on. For now, let's head on to the boss. Hearing footsteps. I guess those Balder Knights are kind of moving around down there a little bit. Speaking of those Balder Knights, it's a rare drop, but you can farm them for their equipment. And their armor is nothing really that special, but if you farm them for their sword and shield, the ones that have the bigger shields, yeah, that's very, very good shield for especially this point in the game. Their weapon's pretty good too if you're running a dex build. So, you go through the fog door, obviously. This has Boss Arena written all over it, so we'll just walk forward and a cutscene. Alrighty. Oh, that was quick. I wasn't expecting to get the tail that easily. I usually don't. Yeah. I'm just kind of alternating between locking on and unlocking. Yeah. Got hit, but we'll be alright. There we go. So you kill him. You want to kill him as quickly as possible because ideally you don't want to be fighting these two at the same time. This other gargoyle shows up, and for the most part, he spams a fire breath. He only has half a life bar, so he's not too terrible. Especially by himself. I am getting dangerously close to the edge. I don't really like that. Whew. And if you happen to be having trouble with this boss for any reason, make sure you approach him with a +5 weapon. And, if you're using pyromancy or weapon buffs or anything, they're actually weak to both fire and lightning, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah. That boss apparently stumps a lot of people who are playing the game for the first time. I didn't have too much trouble with him personally, but to each his own. The next boss, or maybe not the very next boss I fight, but one that's going to come up soon is one that is a boss that definitely gave me a lot of problems when I first started out. So anyway, you climb these ladders. This is one of the bells of awakening you hear about in the beginning of the game. So you pull the lever, And there you go. And I love the way that pans out and the view of everything. One of the great things about Dark Souls level and world design is you can see so much of the game from all over the place. You can see where you've been. You can see where you're going in a lot of instances. Yeah, like you see that though over there in the distance? We can't get to it yet, but we're definitely going there. So anyway, let's climb down this ladder. And the next one. I guess I could jump down, but I don't want to risk it. And then all of a sudden, this guy is just standing here with his arms open like he wants a hug or something. I don't know. Let's talk to him.
Greetings. I am Oswald of Kareem, the pub. Thou art a friend. For me, a warm welcome. Cometh thou to confess, or to accuse? For indeed all sin is my domain.
Yeah. Not really into confession, bro, but thanks. So you learn the best gesture in the game from him. If you commit sins by killing good NPCs and stuff like that, you can request absolution, which we have not committed any sins yet. And that'll help reset covenants and things like that. It'll get certain invaders off your back to an extent. You can buy purging stones, which should I go ahead and... I'm going to go ahead and buy one for now, just to be on the safe side. It's a good thing to have. You can get indictments, which you use on invaders, the red invaders like the one that invaded me. You can get homeward bones, which are the most useful. Book of the Guilty, I mean, it's got some lore significance to it, and you can look up players that have been indicted, but yeah, it's not a big thing. You can get a talisman that you can use to cast miracles with that scales from your intelligence, which is interesting. You can get really deep on the lore with all this stuff. It's all really cool to look into. And some rings. You can get rings of sacrifice if you need them. I think he's got a limited supply of them, like maybe 5 or so. I've got one that I picked up off the ground, so I think we're good for now.
Thou art welcome any time. It is only human to commit a sin.
That laugh, though. That might be my favorite in the game. Another thing about this boss fight, which I can't believe I forgot to mention, if you stay in human form, you can summon Solaire as an NPC. His summon sign's up here in this area. But after talking to Lautrec, who we freed from his little prison a little bit ago, if you go back to Firelink Shrine first and talk to him before engaging the boss, he'll have a summon sign over here. So if you're playing offline or whatever and you need to, or feel like you need to summon some help for the fight, you've got 2 summons you can use for this boss fight. There's no shame in it. I mean, the developers put them there for a reason. If you're struggling with a boss, just summon help. Like, some people will try and make you feel bad for doing it, but, I mean, seriously. When people say that Dark Souls or Souls games should have an easy mode, I mean, it kind of does. Alright. So we've got a +5 halberd. Got a bunch of souls we can put to use. Defeated another one of the major bosses. That's actually one of the first... The gargoyles are like the first mandatory boss besides the Asylum Demon, I think. Let's come on back to the bonfire. I'm gonna go ahead and level up my intelligence a couple more times for later. And go ahead and round out vitality because I like even numbers and multiples of 5. Yeah, I say that, but I'm not going to touch endurance for the whole game because it doesn't really do much of anything. That's going to be it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. See ya later. Bye.